I want to talk about some reporting surrounding Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor that is concerning and another example of ethics violations. And, we talked a lot recently about Clarence Thomas, and that's an example of a Supreme Court justice that I often disagree with and am not ideologically aligned with and not a huge fan of. But Sonia Sotomayor is someone who I actually do like a lot more. And that doesn't excuse, though, the ethics violations. And so here's this. I think this serves as, while not as extreme as an example, still an example of why we need Supreme Court reform and we need an ethics code to be mandated onto the Supreme Court. So here's this from the Associated Press. For colleges and libraries seeking a bold-faced name for a guest lecturer, few come bigger than Sonia Sotomayor, the Supreme Court justice who rose from poverty in the Bronx to the nation's highest court. She also benefited, too, from a school's purchases of hundreds, sometimes thousands of the books she has written over the years. Sotomayor's staff has often prodded public institutions that have hosted the justice to buy her memoir or children's books, works that have earned her at least $3.7 million since she joined the court in 2009. Details of those events, largely out of public view, were obtained by the Associated Press through more than 100 open records requests to public institutions. The resulting tens of thousands of pages of documents offer a rare look at Sotomayor and her fellow justices beyond their official duties. In her case, the documents reveal repeated examples of taxpayer-funded court staff performing tasks for the justice's book ventures, which workers in other branches of government are barred from doing. But when it comes to promoting her literary career, Sotomayor is free to do what other government officials cannot because the Supreme Court does not have a formal code of conduct, leaving the 9 justices to largely write and enforce their own rules, and that's the part that needs to go. They self-govern, and it leads to them being allowed to do things like that, where she's having taxpayer-funded staff prod and push on these institutions that she might be speaking at to purchase large amounts of her books and make her money, right? So then it's us paying her staff to go out and work to make her money. That's that's completely inappropriate and not okay. And as I said, even though she's more of a Supreme Court justice that I'm a fan of, doesn't make it any more okay. And I want to clearly make sure I'm consistent on that and call it out when it's there. And so hopefully, I say this very hopefully, but not that realistically, in the near term, we'll see reform with the Supreme Court. It's not going to happen, let's just be honest, especially with the current state of the GOP. But I've seen some steps with Democrats trying to make this a conversation, because there does need to be a code of conduct with the Supreme Court. They shouldn't just self-govern, because clearly, especially with cases like Clarence Thomas and him accepting from his billionaire conservative Nazi artifact enthusiast friend these bougie trips and gifts and all of that, and other examples as well, when they self-govern, it doesn't work out correctly. And so that needs to go. And they should be at least applied, or they should at least have applied to them the same standard as people in Congress do, and other federal judges, if not more than those. And I actually think when it comes to this particular example, even though it is, it's inappropriate that her taxpayer-funded staff were helping her with this venture, but it is allowed for her to do that right now because she doesn't have the same rules as other people in these types of positions of power. But then also, it would be okay right now, even as a congressman or congresswoman or some other position, to sell books and make money off of that. And I think we talked about this recently with Francis Suarez having another job as mayor of Miami and making money, and now there's bribery accusations and all that. I think any of these crucial positions of power should be completely walled off, where you can't make any other money, no other sources of income, not stocks, not books, not other jobs. You can only make the money that you're paid by the government. That's it. But we're a long way away from that, and we could start with just a basic code of conduct that's the same as other government positions as Congress people have and stuff like that. At least apply that to the Supreme Court. Then we'll talk about something else later on. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.